What's up everybody, my name is Lenny and today I'm bringing you a video on stage selection for Snake. The reason I'm making this video is because I recently attended my first tournament and I realized that I'm unfamiliar with a lot of the legal stages. I usually stick to Battlefield and Final Destination since that's what people play online. I quickly learned that stage selection plays a huge part in competitive Smash, so I decided to make this video to help my fellow Snake players. In order to find the best stages for Snake, I tested his movesets on each stage. I paid special attention to the platforms and tested several of Snake's moves on them. Specifically, I was looking to see if you could hit enemies with up tilt when under the platform, and I also tested if the C4 and grenades get consistent hits. I also tested each platform's accessibility to Snake, since some of them are pretty high in the air, and Snake's full hop isn't too great. The stages I tested are the approved Genesis 6 legal stages, which include Battlefield, Final Destination, Lilac Cruise, Pokemon Stadium 2, and Smashville as the starter stages. I also tested the counterpick stages, which consist of Castle Siege, Kalos Pokemon Region, Town and City, Unova, Yoshi's Island, and Yoshi's Story. I'll give a brief overview of each stage and share the results of my tests. At the end of the video, I'll wrap it up with some analysis and conclusions as to which are the best stages for Snake and which ones you should avoid. Let's start off with Final Destination. I personally love playing on Final Destination as Snake. It's simple, spacious, and flat, which makes it ideal for camping your enemies. You can cover the entire stage with your grenades, although your hard throw will launch them off stage. The lack of platforms means it's safe to recover with your Cypher, and the huge amount of real estate makes it hard for your enemies to keep track of where your C4 is. FD is Snake's ideal stage and is honestly never a bad place to face your enemies. There isn't much else to say about this stage. It gives you enough space to get away from your opponent, breathe, and plan your next attack. So now let's talk about Battlefield. For now I'll cover which moves work on this stage, starting off with his up tilt. You can safely attack enemies standing above you on a platform and get easy kill attempts. Your grenades and C4 won't hit enemies on platforms if your explosives are on the ground. Don't waste your time trying to hit them. Your explosives will work if you place them on the platform and your opponent is under it, although some small characters might be able to get away from it with a crouch. Snake can get on the lower platforms by performing a full hop and back air. It's not the fastest method, but it's pretty reliable. My preferred method is by jumping and doing a downward air dodge. It'll get you on the platform every time. You can even angle your air dodge and do a bit of a waveland, giving you a cool sliding effect on the stage. For now, let's fly over to Lilac Cruise. On this stage, your up tilt is safe to use and is a good way to get kills on careless enemies. Your C4 and grenades behave the same when they're sitting on a platform. Keep in mind that your explosives aren't as useful under the platforms. Always try to keep them on top. You can also access these platforms by doing a back air, the downward air dodge, or even doing the waveland technique. It'll take a bit of practice to get the sliding move down, since the slant of the stage makes it a little bit different from the other stages. The shape of the stage is actually an advantage for Snake's grenades. The slant helps keep the grenades on the stage, and it makes it harder for enemies to predict the trajectory of grenades when they skip on the ground. I've actually learned to love Lilac. Moving on to Pokemon Stadium 2. Once again, your up tilt is effective for enemies on the platform. Your explosives behave the same way as they do on Battlefield platforms. I believe the platforms are a bit higher, but they're still accessible via the back air, the downward air dodge, and the sliding waveland. On to Smashville. The platform on Smashville is a bit too tall for your up tilt. I couldn't hit the Yoshi consistently. You have to get him on a sweet spot or have him crouched down. This may vary from characters since they all have different hitboxes. Your explosive will still work when they're sitting on top of a platform, so try to keep them on there. Although the platform is higher, you can still reach it with the downward air dodge option, although the timing is much tighter. Moving on to the counterpick stages, starting off with Castle Siege. The platforms on this stage are perfect for Snake. The up tilt lands consistently and your explosives also work as normal. The platforms are both easily accessible for Snake with a back air, downward air dodge, or the Waveland. Snake can also do a full hop onto the bottom platform by jumping from the high ground. The timing can get some getting used to. Snake can also jump from platform to platform, meaning he can easily cover the entire stage when needed. His grenades also bounce differently on this stage. They're more likely to stay on the stage, meaning you create more pressure. Let's jump over to Kallow's Pokemon League. This stage is pretty much Final Destination with 2 extra platforms on the ends. It can be quite nice to camp enemies since it offers so much room. The downside is that the platforms aren't built for Snake at all. I couldn't land an up tilt even when Yoshi was crouching. Your explosives might still work, but shorter characters might be safe. The platforms are really hard to get on. The best way I found was a quick double jump to downward air dodge. Onto Town and City. This stage is also quite large, and your up tilt can hit onto the center platform. Explosives work just fine on the center platform as well. The nice thing about this stage is that half the battle is basically on Final Destination. The platforms don't really benefit Snake aside from having extra camping spaces. They're relatively hard to access. The only way I could get on the side platforms was with the double jump to downward air dodge technique. The center platform can be accessed with a full hop to downward air dodge and is the easiest one to access. Let's quickly go over to Unova. Unova's platforms are really high. Your up tilt won't hit opponents on the platforms. Shorter characters can avoid your explosives by crouching, and the 2 platforms are extremely hard to access. Snake can only reach them with a quick double jump to downward air dodge. Next up is Yoshi's Island. The weird shape of the ground makes it hard, if not impossible, to hit enemies with up tilt. It's possible to get on the platform with a jump and downward air dodge, but the timing can be tricky. The same can be said for the back air, which has notably more landing lag. Snake can drop grenades on the edge of the stage to have them bounce off the stage. You can easily punish enemies recovering low. Lastly, let's talk about Yoshi's story. The platforms are quite high. I could only hit the Yoshi with up tilt when he crouched on the platform. The platform was accessible only with a full hop and a downward air dodge. The timing is also very strict. Your explosives work as normal, although short characters are safe at the ends of the stage. Other than that, there's nothing much to say about Yoshi's story. Now let's get on with some quick analysis. I'll be putting the stages into 3 categories, from good to okay and to no bueno. I won't list them in any particular order or rank, since stage selection hugely relies on the character matchup. Starting with Final Destination, I'd put it under the good category. FD is nice and wide. It provides plenty of breathing room for Snake, and the lack of platforms means he can't get juggled as easily. FD is always a safe pick for Snake players. Next, I'll list Battlefield under the OK category. Some of you may disagree with this and believe it's a great stage for Snake, and honestly, you're not wrong. It offers lots of creative ways to set traps and camp your opponent through the use of the platforms. The only reason I'm ranking it as okay and not good is because of how easy it is to juggle Snake on the battlefield. The platforms serve your opponents way more than they serve you, so Snake doesn't have overwhelming aerial pressure when compared to other characters. If you end up playing here, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose, just play a bit more defensively when you're in the air. I'll list Lilac Cruise under the good category, since the platforms are easily accessible to Snake. The lack of a high platform also means Snake's high recoveries are a lot safer. Additionally, the tilt of the stage can help stop grenades and keep them on stage, helping you build extra pressure with your explosives. I'll also list Pokemon Stadium 2 as a good stage. The 2 platforms work with up tilt and are accessible by Snake. They don't really help your opponents juggle you and are more of a neutral type of platform. Pokemon Stadium 2 is a popular starter stage, so I'd recommend practicing here for sure. As much as I wanted Smashville to be a good stage for Snake, I can only rate it as an okay. It's probably the worst stage for Snake out of all the starter stages. The high platform makes it a bit harder to access, and the inconsistency of up tilt means you're more limited for kill options on your opponents. Snake can keep great stage control by placing a C4 on the center of the platform, but other stages just offer better environments. Although not a lot of people play on Castle Siege, I highly recommend you practicing here. I rank Castle Siege as a good stage, and it's the best counter pick stage available for Snake. The small stage means you can kill very early with moves like your forward smash. At the very least, you'll be getting your enemies off stage quite a lot, meaning you can abuse the Nikita missile against them. Both platforms are accessible, and Snake moves around the stage very well. All around, it offers many benefits to Snake and should be a common training ground for any Snake player. I'll be ranking Kalos Pokemon League as the first no bueno stage. Although it's large and feels a lot like Final Destination, the extra platforms do nothing to benefit Snake. They're hard to access, and your explosives can be avoided by shorter characters with a good crouch. Additionally, enemies can use the platforms to punish high recoveries with a higher jump point. Honestly, there's no reason to ever pick this stage over any of the others. Town and City will fall under the OK category, although it was close to being in the no bueno section. The platforms don't do much to help Snake, only the middle platform is actually usable. The silver lining with the stage is that it's massive and provides a huge camping ground. On top of that, as the platform moves around you, you end up spending a lot of time on a flat stage identical to Final Destination. If you practice to get the timing down of the moving platforms, you can also pull some cheeky moves with your C4. Unova is one of the worst stages for Snake. The platforms are too high to be useful or even accessible. I'd ban the stage every time I got the chance, since it does you no favors keeping it available. The only upside is that it's rather dark, meaning your C4 might camouflage on the stage. Yoshi's Island will fall under the OK category. Snake doesn't make the best use of the platform in the center, but it's definitely not terrible. The tilted end of the stage means you can quickly drop grenades to enemies recovering low while keeping a presence on stage. Finally, Yoshi's Story is possibly the worst stage for Snake. The platforms are too high to be usable, and your up tilt is really inconsistent on them. Additionally, the high platform means enemies can easily punish your high recoveries, which is bad for Snake. On top of that, the stage is quite small, meaning there's not much space to escape and retreat. I'd ban this stage every single time. And that's all I really have for you guys today. I hope this video helps you pick the right stages and tournaments depending on your matchup. If there's any key points you think I missed, please let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, you can support my work by subscribing to my YouTube channel and hitting the like button. If you don't like this video, well, that's too bad, but thanks for watching anyways. Take it easy, guys.